Hi everybody, Yuki fam. Welcome to today's commentary video, and today we will be talking about Nimble 5e and why I use it for our own tabletop game, Pokemon Mystery Dungeon Protectors of Kindness. And I will tell you, it's a lot easier than normal 5e. So let's take a look at what Nimble is in terms of retrospect. Nimble is a TTRPG battle system and a game made by Evan. I always tell you guys this to check it out because it's really fun and my players are enjoying this system. So and the backer kit is already over, but make sure you guys check out Nimble 5e website so you can purchase Nimble 5e for yourself. But let me tell you how this looks like in whiteboard. So this is whiteboard on Canva. So hello, my name is Nimble 5e. I love the streamlined TTRPG combat without the need of complicated rules. I am also a fan of the action economy. We'll get into that in a moment. How do you use me? Just roll the damage dice. You only miss on a one or if rolling multiple dice as a base, miss on a one if the dice is on the left. Want a crit? Just roll max and we will enjoy your crit without needing to roll d20. Want to interpose? Use an action point. Simple protect your friends. Very simple, very precise. So let's take a look at comparisons. Let's say you want to go into initiative combat like normal. Take a look at the left side. The left side is for normal 5e and the right side is for nimble 5e. So we're going to have a situation here where we have our players. Let's just say that me, Kyle, Toxie, because I use my own name, by the way. Don't forget to watch the episodes. Anyway, so the DM calls for initiative like normal. You roll your d20 plus your dexterity modifier plus any other modifiers based on your class or skill level. So everybody rolls their dice, and if there is a tie, there is going to be rollies according to critical role. That's where I got that word from. You know, when you rollies, you roll again to see who goes first. The first tiebreaker is your dexterity modifier. So if you have the exact same modifier as another player, you have to rollie. You have to play rollies. Okay, that's your tiebreaker. If you roll rollies again and you tie again, you keep going. If rollies, you have to react the players because that changes the order of play. And what happens if you have blessed? So for those of you who are not aware, bless is an ability that you can add a d4 roll to your initiative total. So I could have a 14, but let's say Kyle has 13 and has blessed, and I don't. He can automatically pass me on the initiative roll, on the initiative order with a 4. With a 1, with us tied, dexterity modifier will come into play, and then we have to rollie if he's tied with me on dexterity. So that's another you have to re-ask. And then the DM would write the turn order, and then he's going to say, hey, Francis is first with Kyle on that. But wait one moment. Kyle forgot he had bless, so he has to add the D4. Guess what? The order changed. If he adds a 4 on that roll. I'm like, okay, now we have to make sure that everybody is accounted for now. And now Kyle is first instead with me on deck. So just like that, the order changed. Okay. Now let's go into combat. Let's go into the combat section here where we take a look at it. Can I use fireball to see if I hit the goblin? The DM says yeah. Go ahead and check. D20. I have a +4. I'm just making these numbers up just for the sake of it. I have a +4 STR. I got a 12 on the die roll. +4 is 16. So I go ahead and hit. We'll just say that the DC is 10. the AC is 10 for this example. That hits, go ahead and roll damage. For this example, it's 2d6 plus 4 because my strength modifier. I got a 10 because 2 plus 4 is 6 plus my modifier is 4. So 10 points of damage. And then guess what? That's my turn. You deal 10 points of damage to the goblin. That's your turn, Kyle. You're up with Toxie on deck. And this is assuming that I don't even have a bonus action via spell, skill, class, race, etc. No bonus action. One turn, done. Next, Kyle is next to go. Let's take a look at Nimble. Nimble here says it's time to roll. And this no action point. See, we have a change. Action point. So instead of rolling who goes first, you're rolling for action points to see how many actions you get to play with on your turn. So I got a 15. By rule, according to Nimble, I get 2. Double digits, 2 points. So I get 2 actions. Kyle got a 9, but don't worry, he only gets 1, but don't worry, he will recharge with 3 on his next turn. And by the way, I'll recharge with 3 on my next turn, assuming I don't do anything. Other than attacking Doxy, though, got very lucky. He got a 20. But in this case, because it's not, and it's not just for, it's not to see who goes first. It's 3 action points for Toxie. So Toxie gets 3, Kyle gets 1, I get 2. And there's a plot in play. There's a little bit plot play. Okay, because I wanted to so-called quote unquote sneak attack the goblin with my fireball spell. And since I initiated combat, I get to play first. I get to act first. And normally heroes go first anyway. So I'll go be first with Kyle on deck. And then let's take a look at combat session. I want to try to attack the goblin with 30 feet of fireball. Sure, go roll damage. No d20? No need. They roll that d10 plus 4. Again, 4 is my string modifier, and this is just made up numbers. My d10 is 9, and then I add that 4, 13. Awesome, 13 damage as you burn that goblin. Want to go again? You have 2 more action points where you will roll with stacking disadvantage. So just like that, I can roll again. I just have to remember I'm going to be rolling with disadvantage because I am twice. So I said, yeah, I'm feeling lucky. I got a 4 and a 3. Because of disadvantage, the lowest number goes. So 3 plus 4 is 7, which is not bad at all. So 7 plus my 13, I believe it's 20 points of damage total. Yes. So right off the rip, I attacked twice on my first turn. In Nimble, in the regular 5e, I don't get that luxury unless I have a bonus action that allows me to do so. Like Rage, I believe. Rage is one of them, or Charge. But because I have no bonus action, I cannot do that. Here in Nimble, you have action point economy, so you can go straight up attack the thing. Attack that goblin. Next, let's take a look at critical hits. Let's go first for the 5e side. Normal. I want to try to attack the goblin with my 30 feet fireball. Sure, roll for damage. I get a natural 20. Now there's a caveat to this. That is a 5% chance, and the way I got 5% is 1 divided by 20. So 5% chance of critting with a natural 20. And it will also depend on a few other things. This is a 5% chance, and depending on the level monster and how the DM is, this is not an automatic crit. But we're going to assume that there are no modifiers, no plot plays, and say that this is a critical. Just like Grog on Mighty Nine, during his critical hit, he got double natural 20, by the way. Spoiler. Nice. Roll your damage. Roll your number damage, normal damage, and double. Now, not all the time it's gonna be double though. I'm just using double rule just to make it faster. So I got a 9 plus 4, 13 times 2 is 26. So that's 26 damage. I said burn that goblin. That's the turn. Kyle, you're up with Doxy on deck. So the exact same thing happens. You don't get another turn. Unless you have a bonus action or some racial trait or something like that. How about Nimble? Nimble 5e. I want to try to attack that goblin with a 30 feet fireball. Sure, roll damage. Roll your d10. I got a 10. So 10 plus 4 is. Hold up. The DM says, actually, you crit. Roll another d10, please. So instead of plus 4 right off the rip, I roll another d10. So it's still my first action point to play. So I get another 10 on this one. So that's 20. But wait, what's the rule of Nimble? It's exploding critical hits. You keep rolling max, you keep adding. Keep going, it explodes until you don't roll a 10. And you still have 2 action points to play. So, basically saying, if I keep critting, I could one shot. But don't expect me to one shot every time. I still have 2 action points after this crit. And the next third one, I get a 9. So that's 29 damage. On that goblin, want to go again since you have 2 more action points. I'm going to save it in case I need to defend or protect. And we're going to get into that in a moment. So basically, what I just described for you is the critical hit on Nimble. I only used 1 action point and I crit. And then I crit again. So, my first attack on the first action point is 29 damage. Easy. Assuming I can get very lucky. Okay? I will tell you, in our game, in Mystery Dungeon Protectors of Kindness, I have critted a few times, and I have exploded a few times, especially with tackle. You have a 25% chance of getting a 4. You always have a 25% chance of getting a 1. And then that will be Kyle's turn with Toxic on deck. Now let's take a look at another one defending and protecting. Let's take a look at 5e. Also, we're going to assume that no rules are homebrewed. Number 5e. If any number of players. The goblin is about to attack Kyle, and I'm going to interrupt the DM and saying, can I interpose and protect Kyle? The DM says no because it's a homebrew rule, and in this particular example, homebrew game is not allowed. Homebrew rules are not allowed. This is actually a homebrew rule, and actually it costs more than you think. You have to have a constitution of 13, and I believe a dexterity of 15. So there's also requirement as well. How about defending and like blocking, like block the damage? The DM also says that's homebrewed and it's not allowed. So basically, Kyle has to take the damage. But what about Nimble 5e? Nimble 5e, however, the goblin is about to attack Kyle, and I'm going to interrupt the DM and say, can I interpose? Or ask, can I interpose? But the DM says, yeah. Keep in mind, it will cost you 1 action point, but yeah, you can. And I'll confirm my interpose. AP would be 2 next round. I'll take his square, please. I also have the option to push him to a different square that is 5 feet away as well, if I wanted to do that. So I'll take his square means literally I'll just swap places, basically. Oh, by the way, you must be 10 feet within each other. By the way, I forgot to add that. The DM says, sure. The goblin attempts to slash Kyle, but I push him out of the way. And I take 4 damage. Nice. So nice in the form of I protect Kyle. Not nice because I took 4 damage, but hey, I like to protect my friends anyway. How about blocking? Yep, sure. It will cost you an action point for the next turn where you like to have you only have 1 more on the next round. And I'll say, yeah, I'll say no. I'll take my chances and say my AP for the next round. So so because of that, I take another 4 damage from the goblin, so that's 8 damage total. So I protect Kyle from 4 from interposing. So and then I take another 4 because I said no to blocking. I want to save my AP for the next round. So total 8 damage. So Kyle could have gotten 4-4, but because 4-8, 4-4, or 4 because of that. But I decided to take all 8. Okay, so that is the combat thing with interposing and protecting. What about the table? So what I just showed you is example of some scenarios you can run in Nimble 5e as well as how it works in 5e, normal 5e. You have to go through a lot of rules, a lot of steps in 5e normal just to hit. And remember, if you miss, there's a chance that that's your only action for that round. And by the way, sometimes turns take at least 15 minutes, 5 to 10 minutes, depending on what level you are, how the player plays, and how the player acts on the table. There have been cases where turns have taken 5 to 10 minutes each person. Here, assuming that everybody's in person with Nimble 5e, because we play on Discord, by the way, so it does take a little bit, but assuming that you're playing in person, this literal 5e scenario with one attack, it takes 4 seconds. 4 to 10 seconds, done. Less than a minute, you're already in round 2. Sometimes, I will tell you, in 3 rounds, we're already in 3 rounds in, like it took over 4 minutes, and we're already in 3rd round, or so. Now remember, we are playing on Discord, so there is a little bit of a delay. But now let's take a look at the table of comparison. Let's take a look at Nimble 5e, then we take a 5e. Nimble 5e. Let's take a look at D&D first. Normal 5e. A lot of steps to go through. Possible rollies to determine tiebreakers. Repolling of group rolls bogs the game down because then the DM has to ask, "Hey, what did you roll? What did you roll? Hey, did you do rollies? Did you do rollies? Wait, do you have bless? You have bless too? Add your D4. Possible forgetting of abilities like bless. What if you forgot about bless and only somebody told you, hey, you have bless? Add that D4. Then you still have to look at your character sheet. With Nimble 5e, you roll for action points instead of saying, hey, who goes first? You roll for action points. Heroes automatically go first. I mean, heroes go first unless otherwise stated by a plot event. Whoever is ready go first goes first. If nothing plot wise happens, heroes go first. And on D20 roll, you do have to roll for a D20, but only for action points. And it does not affect turn order. You roll a single digit, one action point. Double digits, two action points. Natural 20 or higher with dexterity modifier, you get three action points and it's customizable. I will tell you, in our Pokemon Mystery Dungeon game, I have made it customizable to where if you level up, you earn an additional action point, which is which is crucial, especially when you find out that in future episodes you're going to get boons and power ups, and those cost action points too. How about combat? 5e first. You have to roll a d20 to see if you hit. If you are less than the AC of the enemy, you miss automatically. And if it's a 1, it doesn't matter. Automatic miss. If your roll is higher than the AC or action armor class, you hit. And if it's a natural 20, it's a quote unquote crit because of potential like plot plays and the DM saying no and other weird things that can happen at the table. And then if you hit, you roll damage. And then you turn this over unless you have a bonus action from your class, racial traits, or whatever. Unless you have something that tells you, hey, you can have a bonus turn. No, your turn is over. In 5e, you roll your damage dice. You don't roll a d20. You just go straight into it. If you roll a 1, you miss. If you roll another number, you hit. And if you roll max on the dice like a d4, you crit. If you roll a 4 on a d4, you crit. If hit or miss on the first try, option to try again with disadvantage that is stacking. Meaning you add another dice of the same thing, but you take the lowest number. Also, if you have a multiple dice at the base, as a base, like a 2d10, the primary die is on the left. Or if you have the colored dice, like the different colored dice, the primary die is whatever you called it. Like if it's red, the primary die is red. Then if the red one is a 1, that's a miss. Okay, so you can either go primary die or you can go if the die is on the left. Something like that, whatever floats your boat. Also, if you crit, the damage is exploding. So you keep rolling until you don't roll max. So you can roll a 4, you can roll a 12. On D12, you roll again. D12 again, you roll 12 again, that's 24 damage, but you roll again. Another 12, 36. Another 12, 48. And you keep going until that 12 dice is not a 12. And you roll 2. 48 plus 2 is 50, plus your strength modifier, let's just say, is 4. So you deal a total of 54 damage, and it is possible you could do that. Okay, so I will tell you, my players, when I introduced this system, they wanted more. So I said, yeah, you know what? Let's do it. How about defending and interposing? On D&D 5e, you cannot do either of those things. Now, keep in mind there is an exception. If your DM is allowing homebrew rules and the DM or the DM allows it, then that's fine. However, I've seen in most D&D games, including Critical Role, I have never seen them even in Bell's Hells Campaign 3. They have not interposed. I don't think Matt Mercer allows it, based on what I've been watching each week, except for this Thursday. I'm going to a certain place, and it has something to do with baseball. Anyway, defending interposing is not allowed in normal 5e unless the DM says so. If the DM says no, sorry, you cannot interpose and you cannot defend. In 5e, however, you can. There's a cost. You can do it as long as you have an action point remaining. You must have one action point to interpose and one action point to defend/block. And it will limit you on your next turn. So be very careful if you want to interpose or block. Because remember, you charge with 3 action points at the start of your next turn. But if you interpose or defend, you have to subtract that 1 action point for those 2 actions if you want to do that. If you defend and interpose on the same round, you start with 1 action point on your next turn. Or if you interpose only, you start with 2 action points next turn. So it's more rather than a risk. It's more of a tactical decision. Also, another thing. Say a goblin is attacking one of your players. Excuse me, one of your teammates. You interpose for that particular teammate, right? However, let's say the other goblin is attacking another teammate. You cannot interpose again for that round. You can do it as many times as you want, but not in the same round. Also, but you can block because you have not used that yet. So you can block that damage as long as you're within 10 feet. This opens up tactical gameplay because you gotta think, do I want to use my action points just to defend my teammate? Or do I want to save some for myself for my turn when I want to hit? There are there are certain play styles you have to think about. This is why when you watch me play our Pokemon game with Nimble, I have to think about what my players would do, and I have to think about what I would do. And keep in mind, I play double duty. I am double duty in this game because I'm also playing as Francis the Riolu. So I'm also player character, not an NPC, also NPC. Also, in episode 4, I'll give you a hint now, but I can't spoil much. There is going to be a teammate that is permanent, and she is going to be part of the plot. So I'm not only going to play as Francis the Riolu, I'm playing as Francis the Riolu, her, the teammate, the characters they're going to face against because of the DM rule, and any NPCs I come up with. So I have quad duty. So that's why I have to think about, hey, how would I play as Francis Riolu? Hey, how would I play as this teammate who you will meet in episode 4? Also, how am I gonna play as the monsters, creatures, Pokemon, etc., and the NPCs they come up with, or I come up with? So quad duty, okay? And I have to think about combat. How would I do it? How would Francis the Riolu do it? How would this teammate do it? And how would the characters do it? And as a DM, I have to think about, hey, what do I want to play out? How do I want to play it? That's the thing. And Nimble, I will tell you, has given us the freedom to do more. I will tell you that. Sometimes if I get we get very unlucky. Sometimes we get very lucky. I'm gonna tell you now. The more the excitement that I got playing Nimble 5e with our players for Pokemon, they want more. So that's why Nimble 5e is part of our game. That's why I have not looked to D&D 5e. And besides, I heard D&D 5e right now has been going through a lot of changes that I don't think we want to talk about. There's some weird changes going on with the rule book and like new rules, new names for something. I'm like, I'm done with that. So I went to Nimble. And speaking of Nimble, I would like to shout them out right now by taking a look at their page, their website, ladies and gentlemen. So yes, their backer kit unfortunately is over. I was going to back them, but I ran out of time. But don't worry, because here you go. You can add these particular books. If you want to try Nimble for yourselves, please make sure you guys do. It's a lot of fun. The system is a lot of fun for combat, and I think you guys are going to enjoy it. So make sure you guys check out nimble5e.com/shop. I am not sponsored to say this, but I really want you guys to check it out. Seriously. I've been rolling damage, I've been critting. That's why I just called Francis the real crit Lu right now, because he's been critting a lot. So pre-order the Nimble 5e digital PDF. You get the character creation guide, you get the core rulebook, and you get an adventure. You get starter adventure if you want that. You can also buy the soft cover book for $50, and if you want the all-in box, it's $100. So make sure you guys check this out, number5e.com/shop. Also, make sure you guys check out their Discord server. I mentioned this a lot in my game. Oh, I forgot to mention. I meant to say the Game Master's Guide, not a other character book. But the core rules is gonna have the character book thingy, the Game Master Guide, and the adventure. Okay, so make sure you guys check this out now. And as always, it's a Friday yet. We'll see you guys very soon. Enjoy, and I'll see you guys tonight for an indie game that could have been inspired by D&D. Find out what that is at 5:30. Enjoy.